What is up, everybody? This is Keith Jamison. I go by Gator Guy 231 across the DFS industry, and this is a special FA Cup Showdown edition of the EPL DFS preview on the Mayo Media Network. And you know, we have a big game tomorrow, the semifinals between Chelsea and Manchester City, and the prize pool reflects it. We have 10,000 to first, almost 3,000 entries in the main GPP. So here it is to give you a quick breakdown, kind of an idea of maybe what to expect tactically, or at least what I expect to see happen. A few picks, and hopefully, some ideas to construct these lineups. You know, City and Chelsea slates to me are actually by themselves can sometimes be one of the harder slates. So put them together, and there's going to be a lot of ways to make lineups. So I think there'll be a lot of differentiation in GPPs, and hopefully these picks can set you off well. So just a quick reminder to mash that subscribe button to be part of the Mayo Media Network. Like, comment, subscribe is really appreciated. You can find me on FSI DFS doing soccer videos all throughout the week. So would love if you check those out as well. All right, let's get into the picks. We will start out with the odds. We have Manchester City, a slight favorite, minus 114, Chelsea plus 385. The bookies are not expecting too many goals here. We have a 2.25 total. And I think that is reflective on kind of, the reality that since Tuchel has been at Chelsea, with the exception of the West Brom game, Chelsea defensively has been absolutely stout. They held Liverpool scoreless. Even versus Porto, where they were accepting a lot of pressure, they still held scoreless. So, it's really rare to see City games where they don't have huge totals. So, I think there is a lot of respect to Chelsea in that. Now, that said, I don't think it means you run and get Chelsea pieces. Realistically, I think Chelsea's going to play a lot on the counter. When they do have the ball, they're going to be doing, their short passing, which they love to do. And I think they could be found out by City's high press and by City doing what Chelsea wants to do, but a lot better. I think just in every single way, City is the best team in the world. It would have been nice to see like a City Bayern if Lewandowski hadn't been hurt from Bayern. Maybe they get through PSG and set up what could have been like an epic Champions League final. But I think City has a rare opportunity to complete the quadruple. Winning the FA Cup, which we know Pep is going to be huge and putting his best foot forward. So I'm expecting City's full lineup tomorrow, and try to win the FA Cup, trying to win the Carabao Cup or the League Cup, Premier League, and the Champions League. It would be truly extraordinary. All right, we're going to talk a lot about City pieces, so strap in. I don't see a way that Kevin De Bruyne does not play this game with it being FA Cup semifinal. Kevin De Bruyne is probably one of, if not the, not only best player in the Premier League, but the best DFS asset, takes corners. Now, the weird thing is he had been taking PKs, but then Riyad Mahrez surprisingly took over him versus Porto. Versus Dortmund. So I think Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden looked absolutely phenomenal over the last two legs. He could make way for Raheem Sterling, but whichever one of those guys starts up top, I would love, as well as Riyad Mahrez. I think realistically, City has a ton of options up front. They can do what they did in the Champions League, and they start Foden, Kevin De Bruyne as a false nine, and Riyad Mahrez off the right. They could bring Ferran Torres in, the former stud from Valencia. They can put Kevin De Bruyne back in the midfield, bring Jesus in to lead the line, Sterling off the left. There's just so many options at City. It's going to be important to look at those lineups. But I do think that at minimum, you're at 2 City attackers. Potentially, because of some soft pricing, you can get 3. Now, Mason Mount, I think, is going to be the part where ownership starts differentiating. If you just look at logs, you go Mason Mount, it's a lock. But 1, he's been losing sets to Reece James, and 2, I just don't see Chelsea having that much of the ball. So Mason Mount will become very, very scoring and assist dependent. So I'm fading. I'm going to be fading almost every Chelsea striker or Chelsea attacker. The only Chelsea pieces I want are potentially guys in the midfield or the wingbacks. So whether it's Reece James, who I think will likely be, my Chelsea piece. Let's talk real quickly about Reece James. He is only 6,600. if there is crossing, if there is, open play value, I think a lot of it's going to come through him. Additionally, he takes corners. So, I think that he's by far my favorite Chelsea piece. Ben Chilwell, I can see having some ownership at 6,800, especially with his big logs. The fact that he has a big log there actually makes me want to fade him for Reece James, who, people that don't play soccer every week are going to go, oh, Ben Chilwell is better than Reece James. Remember, these are the FA Cup game logs. These are not the whole season. These are not EPL game logs. So there is going to be a little bit of edge to be had there. Let's see if I passed up anybody from City. Gundogan, I think he's a little expensive on this slate at 9,200. I'd much rather play Sterling or drop down and place really any other City piece. But I think he's a little bit steep for my blood, but he's been showing goals all season. João Cancelo at 6,000, I think makes a ton of sense. He sat out the last UCL Champions League game, so I would expect Pep to probably bring him in on the left for Zinchenko. Rodrigo at 5,800 is probably a little steep. We just were paid 3,200 for him in the Champions League, or was it 3,400, something like that. So going all the way to 5,800, 800 is a little bit steep. And, just as a kind of a contrarian roster construction, all right, I've talked a ton about City, but you could play 5 City and play an onslaught build and your one Chelsea piece being Edouard Mendy. We've seen that strategy work a lot, especially when a team gets pummeled. Now, I don't know if Chelsea's going to fully get pummeled so badly that nobody on Chelsea has value. That's kind of like why I like Reece James. But, Edouard Mendy could be very busy. And if he's stopping the shots, and, you get a substitute goal. Olivier Giroud comes on in the 75th minute, scores. It's 1-0. No other Chelsea player gets double digits, but Mendy gets a clean sheet win. He has 22 DK. All the other traffic was City. That could win you a GPP. So that's just an interesting way to approach this. All right, I hope these picks and the game analysis helps. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, if you want to find me, Keith Jamison, I go by Gator Guy 231 across the DFS industry and Twitter, and find all my content on FSI DFS. Search that on YouTube, or you can check out fsidfs.com. Thank you all. Have a great weekend, and see you.